Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else, and welcome to the magnificent Pixel Imperfect, our new podcast, the very first episode. In this podcast, we discuss anything pixel art related, and perhaps even a little more if we feel like it. Us being me, Bart, or Pixelate Daily on relevant social media channels, and my co-host. Introduce yourself.
I'm Sean. I go by Bing J on most other social medias.
Well, do we first just want to say why this podcast exists? As in, of course, you just want to make a podcast, right? But there's a bit more reason to it than just making a podcast.
Mm-hmm. So, I feel, I mean, for me, it was, there's so much pixel art and there's so many tutorials and all that sort of thing online. And that's brilliant, because tutorials for pixel art are very necessary, because it's such a unique genre. But because it's such a unique genre, there's very little other than tutorials on how to make the art. There's very little for the pixel artists themselves. So that was my sort of inspiration for starting up this podcast.
Yeah, and I kind of joined in as we were in a Pixel Daily's Discord server. I think it's fine to say that.
Yeah.
And I think it was you and a couple of people were discussing exactly this. Like, hey, we want something more entertainment or even edutainment, if necessary, concerning pixel art, because there's not much in that sense. And specifically, people were talking about a podcast. And I'm one of those people, when I see this and I see it being talked about repeatedly, I just know nothing's going to come of it. Unless someone just says, go. And that's basically what I said there. I just said, all right, people, let's then just go, and kind of rolled into it that
stop
way.
Talking, actually get on with it.
Yeah. Okay, all right.
You called our bluff, and here we are now.
Our bluff. Stretching time. I'm not ready yet, no. Right, so yeah, for the first episode, we wanted to keep it more loose. We just wanted to do kind of a discussion type thing. And I think here it's already important to say, for this first episode, we'll keep it to a loose discussion. And we're just going to be trying out different formats and see what happens best. Like more formal, structured episodes maybe some guest appearances with interviews / discussions. Want to, try it all out, as in those are the three options we really managed to come up with, but
yeah. So for I think this episode though, we're gonna tell you a little bit ourselves as pixel artists, where we are now, where we want to be, and how we got here, because that's one thing that the community really sort of wants to hear. We want to hear more about the people behind the pixels.
Yeah. Behind the pixel.
Behind the pixel. We could have... That would have been a brilliant podcast name. What have we done?
No. That is kind of cliche, though. Like, there was a lot of things that are called behind the blank.
Yeah.
So, no, Pixel Imperfect is nice and quirky. We'll keep it to that.
Yeah.
Everything's susceptible to change still. No, behind the pixel is a good one, though.
Man, I can't believe I didn't even suggest that earlier.
Yeah, no, okay, that kind of sucks. But no, that is a general trend we do see. Like, pixel artists do like, I was going to say talking about themselves, but that makes them sound narcissistic, but...
Nah, I'm the only narcissist here.
Artist. Oh, God, no, yeah, not me. So, what about we start off with just where we are at currently with pixel art? Do you want to say some of that for yourself first?
Yeah, sure. Where am I currently? So, as you heard in the introduction, I'm Sean, and I have been doing pixel art for, I think it's 4 years now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I've been doing pixel art for 4 years now, which isn't a huge amount of time, but it's enough time to rack up a decent portfolio of artwork. So at the moment I take commissions and I do art for different projects and things. At the moment my biggest project that I'm working on is starting up a pixel art exclusive YouTube channel, because that's going to be that's cool. That's my current main project.
About like pixel art just showcasing images, or what's the direction of the channel going to be?
It depends, because I, just like this podcast, I'm experimenting a bit. My main idea is I'm gonna try out different formats, see what sticks. My current format that I'm looking to try out is I might do a storytime animation, but have it pixel art. Because, people have done storytime animations before, but if I do it in pixel art, that's a unique style, so...
Indeed. Yeah, that's a unique style.
It could work.
Make a bit of a twist on it.
So that kind of thing.
Yeah, that sounds good. But you can try out different things. You don't have to stick to one thing. You can have it be multiple things.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I think that's pretty much where I am at the moment. I've been doing pixel art for 4 years. I do some commission work, and I'm working on a YouTube channel. So how about you, Bart? Where are you at?
Where am I at? Well, as for one, I am insane. I'll start off that way. At least that's what I'm being told often, because what I do as a pixel artist, I just make a piece every day, hopefully without fail. And I've managed to do that for currently 589 days consecutively. Whoa. So that just about tells you as well how long I've been doing pixel art for, because that's really how I began. I made one piece before that. It was basically a red angry M&M. It wasn't good. But
I mean, everyone's first piece is bad.
Yeah. From here, I still just make the pieces daily. I have seen big improvements. And my style is inconsistent as can be. I'm just trying stuff out still. And yeah, I can't say much more about where I'm currently at, because that's it really. I'm just making pixel art daily. And chilling out with other pixel artists, pretending to also be one, and definitely not letting the imposter syndrome set in slowly.
I can just imagine that image where you've got the guy in the corner that's kind of like stuck in the corner. Everyone else is dancing in the room. You know that meme? It's like these guys have no idea I'm a fake pixel artist. That kind of thing.
I've infiltrated. I've made it. I've even made it onto a podcast.
I've broken in. Yeah, nah.
These fools.
I'd say you clarify. I've seen your stuff. I'd say you clarify as a pixel artist.
Right. Okay. I made it. I made it as a pixel art. I mean, yeah, I make art with pixels. That's
the only requirement, so
yes. This is a topic already we said we wanted to discuss. What defines pixel art? Like when, or specifically, what are the bounds of pixel art? When does pixel art stop becoming pixel art?
Mm-hmm.
So I guess look forward to that episode.
Yeah,
that's a can of worms we're not opening here.
Coming on an episode near you. What defines pixel art?
Yeah, right. What defines pixel? God, yeah, no, that's a big discussion to be held later. But no, okay. So we know where we're at now, but where did we come from? What's your inspirations in pixel art?
Right.
Where did you get inspired to do it, and what?
My origin story. Oh.
Origin story.
Yeah, my pixel artist origin story. I've always had a flair for the dramatics. It's not actually anything that big. So way back, 2019, early 2019, I, as a boy, a young lad, felt that I wanted...
Really going for the storytelling, huh?
I love stories. That's something that you'll learn about me very quickly. I love stories. So, as a young lad, I loved a little-known game called Minecraft.
Oh, yeah. Now, I think all of us can attribute some of our inspiration to that.
And the very first pixel art, I say, putting quotation marks in my fingers that you can't see, the very first pixel art was a skin that I made for Minecraft, because I wanted a cool robot skin, but I couldn't find one that was exactly what I wanted. So I went on to a skin editor, and I made my very first Minecraft skin. And that's what made me go, hold on, that was actually quite fun. I'm going to keep doing this. And that sense of, hold on, pixel art's actually quite fun, has stayed with me this entire time. I've been enjoying pixel art ever since. But I have gone through many, many sort of stages and phases through my pixel art thing. So after Minecraft, I quickly turned to drawing characters. And it wasn't popular characters. Because I love stories, as I'd said. I love stories, and I love making stories. So I'd come up with stories in my head, and I'd come up with characters for them. And these days, that's called an OC, but I don't like that term because of all of the negative connotations that come with it.
Right. Yeah. Some circles, yeah.
Yeah, so my incredibly cringy OC years, so let's call that 2019. The rest of 2019.
And quickly skip by that for your own sanity. Not.
Yeah, I can attribute a lot of the characters that I draw to this day to that era, but they've changed a lot. They have changed dramatically. I've transformed them from OCs into actual characters with story and all that nice stuff. So I still enjoy drawing them, but they've gone through design changes and all that stuff. And around the end of 2019, I started drawing my friends in pixel art, and I started making characters of my friends at school. That was a short-lived phase, but it was fun because then I'd draw them and then I'd show them the pixel art, and then they're like, "Hey, that's actually quite good."
Yeah, getting such direct feedback was nice. Well.
And so that kind of fueled what I love doing, because then other people were saying, "Hey, that's pretty cool."
I'd pay for that.
Yeah, no, that didn't start until around early later. 2021. Okay. So
I have had a surprising amount. I don't do commissions, but I failed to mention this in where I'm currently at. I don't do commissions because they terrify me. I got to be honest.
I mean, that's fair.
I've had a surprising number of people ask me to do them, to make logos, to make just general commissions of whatever, and I've always been like, I mean, thanks, big compliment, but no, I'm a scared little boy. I don't know what I'm doing.
Please, no.
You expect me to take money for this?
Just imagine that picture with Gru, where it's like, you like this? This is garbage.
You shouldn't reward me for mediocrity.
Man, we love self-depreciation here.
Oh, absolutely. My favorite. Anyway, continue. Your tale has not been fully
revealed.
Yes,
this is true, because we're about to enter 2020, which was a year I don't have a lot of my art for, because I got really self-conscious and got rid of a lot of it during that time.
Oh, that hurts.
I've still got some of it, but I don't have as much as I should, because a lot of my art I got rid of because I was really self-conscious. I thought, oh no, that's bad. But I've kept a couple pieces, such as an art piece I did of a bunch of my family members. And
that's nice.
That's one that I kind of gotta keep.
Yeah, it's kind of,
Yeah, I can't get rid of that.
Your family asks for it one day. It's like, oh, remember when you did that? It's like, hey, yeah, no, I don't.
I don't remember that. I don't remember making pixel art, you guys. No. And then around that time, I also started getting into 1-bit pixel art, which is 2 colors.
Oh, yeah. I've always... God, that stuff impresses me always. It's like being able to do stuff in 1-bit.
I'll have to show you some of the stuff that I got up to. It's not perfect by any means, but...
There is another artist in some different server. I can't find them right now, but they do just the most insane 1-bit pixel art. I'm always just
1-bit pixel artists are insane. I will always respect them for that art for. They're so good.
Same. There's going to be a bunch of episodes that's just delving into specific art styles, and 1-bit is guaranteed to be one of them.
Yeah. And so, during all of this time, because you just mentioned art styles, my art style has been changing very rapidly over the course of these 2 years. So we go to 2021, and I start trying to focus on getting a specific art style. I was like, okay, I've been doing this for 2 years. I should get an art style that's recognizable and different and unique to me. So I started playing around with different styles. And so that took me all over the place with different pieces. I got lots of portraits, more character work. Around this time, I'm starting to develop the characters to being better, because I still have these characters from ages ago. I start trying...
actually develop them.
Yeah, I'm just starting to actually develop them. design-wise, I've been developing their stories since the very beginning, but art-wise, I'd started developing them a lot more around this time. So I started making a lot more dedicated pixel art pieces with backgrounds, like fully finished pieces.
Backgrounds.
And around that time is when I started making pixel art memes. Everyone loves memes.
Oh yeah, that's what I like to see.
So
I need to make some more pixel art memes. It's been a while.
So what I would do is I would get the image, I'd get the pixel art, and I started off by drawing over the meme. So and then I would turn it into pixel art from there. So I'd have that as a direct reference, but later on I would start taking the reference to the side and trying to replicate it. That way I'd get better structure of anatomy and things like that when I started focusing on that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when I started off, I was basically just copying over the photo. Yeah, I was just tracing over the photo with pixel art.
I mean, it's no sin to start out that way.
Yeah, although that is a topic that we could get into.
Yeah, like there are some issues with tracing, but sometimes, if you want to get started out and get a feel for things, it's not bad to heavily reference some stuff. There's certain limits, of course.
But what the thing is that I never felt guilty about, and I still don't feel guilty about it, is that I was always tracing photographs or drawings. I was never tracing other pixel art. So it always felt to me that it was like making pixel art.
I've had the same. I've had the exact same like thought process in my earlier pieces, where I was basically tracing stuff, but it was like, this is basically transforming it from one art medium to another, and not just tracing it.
Mm. So also around 2021, I started leaving a lot of different communities that I was in, and I started focusing more on developing the art style for myself, because earlier on I was getting a lot of input, people saying, wow, that's awesome, that's brilliant, but I wanted to improve it for myself. And through various reasons, one reason or another, I ended up leaving a lot of different communities near the end of, or I suppose sort of the mid-2021. I started focusing on making art for myself and self-improvement, so I went on to try animation, I went on to try upscaling, which is something that I have really enjoyed, actually, where I'll just take a piece that I've made, and I'll be like, okay, I want to make this more detailed, so I'll just double the size and then work from there and fix it.
I've done that as well for pieces. Like, this is the rough shape, but like during the piece itself, like this is rough shape, increase it, and then start like fixing it, so to say, to not look as weird. Yeah.
And then late 2021, because for some reason I've got 2021 separated into two folders. I think the second folder is roughly when I started leaving all of my communities and started focusing on making pixel art. So later 2021, I started trying some portraits out. I did a portrait of my parents for their anniversary, which I got plastered onto a mug. I started bringing the pixel art into the real world, so so I started getting real with that, and I started printing off T-shirts that have my pixel art, and around this time I started getting commissions for it, or this is when I started accepting commissions for the pixel art.
Like, did you get requests for commissions before that point?
Yeah, I think my first request for a commission was very early 2021, late 2020. And I only got the self-confidence to actually accept these commissions much later on, because I was like, nah, I don't like my art yet. I don't like my art enough to sell you my art. I think a lot of people actually have that problem. All I can really...
if I can't see the value of the pixel art in myself, like, okay, I'm not saying I think my pixel art is worthless, but I don't feel like it has the value to be worthy of commissions yet, and I feel like that's probably what's holding a lot of people back.
Yeah, my advice for people that are getting commissions requested of them, but they don't feel like their art is good enough, is try taking requests, because that's what I kind of started. Try taking advice from other people, And definitely, absolutely talk to other artists who do take commissions, because they will give you plenty of advice, and plus you can have a look at what their pricing is, how they work.
Yeah, I guess that's also a big problem of like the actual process of getting commissions can also seem pretty daunting. Mm-hmm. Like pricing, talking to the customer, figuring out what they actually want and how to incorporate your own style of that. Mm-hmm. So,
and especially as young artists as well, because there's a lot of different platforms that won't support younger artists. Because as I started off when I was, 14, I think. I started off when I was 14.
Oh, damn.
So,
little baby boy.
And so I ended up taking commissions when I was 17. And now I'm a full adult. Oh man, I hate it. Being an adult sucks. I've got to pay taxes. I've got to work.
Oh god.
It's awful. No. But my pixel art has improved, so that's like the bonus of being an adult. So I've been really focusing a lot on pixel art, and when I do focus on making pixel art these days, so we're entering 2022. When I do make pixel art these days, I'm referencing a lot of. I'm trying my best not to say real artists, as if pixel art isn't a real art.
Yeah, but, it's difficult to make the distinction because if you say
artists,
saying digital kind of also includes pixel art, but the separation area is just like
non-pixel artists,
non-pixel art, digital art. But whenever we say digital art, we'll just refer to that.
Yeah,
from here on out. Yeah. Let's just put it that way.
Because I was focusing on getting anatomy right. I was focusing on referencing real things because at this point I've got an art style that I'm happy with. I am satisfied with my art style. All I need to do now is develop it and take real things, different things, into my art style to see what fits and what doesn't at this point. So I'm still growing as an artist. I think every artist is still developing to an extent.
As long as you're actively making pieces, you're developing as an artist.
Yeah. I mean, I've made some rubbish pieces this year.
Oh, yeah.
I say rubbish pieces. I've made a couple rubbish pieces because I haven't made a huge amount of pieces, but
right. I mean, yeah, I have very much made peace with the fact that sometimes I will produce garbage and I just still post it.
Yeah.
Because that's just it's like gotta put it out there to keep improving, right?
Yeah. But that's one thing as well. If you see an artist that you really like producing garbage, then you kind of see they're more human, that they don't produce perfection instantly every time. No. You're beginning to see that they make mistakes alongside you. So I feel that showing your mistakes is a good way.
It makes it less daunting. It makes it a bit more easily accessible to realize that mistakes happen everywhere, at every level of pixel art. No matter how much time you put into it, no matter how much of a perfectionist art, there are going to be mistakes. And it's better to just accept that and learn from them. Mm-hmm. Rather than hold them back and be like have that stop you, basically.
Yeah. So at the moment, I think I've discussed where I'm at. So that's been my journey to how I got here. I initially did it for. I initially made my art for Minecraft, and then I made my art for stories. I actually did some art for a Minecraft mod. So I did some artwork for that. And I'm still actually doing artwork for that Minecraft mod. I'm not going to name drop it just yet. I don't have enough confidence to name drop my art, the art that I did for the mod just yet.
You're right. I got you.
Maybe one day I'll mention it's Dimensional Doors. Wait, no.
Right.
No, I was just doing that whole thing for the
Censor it. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I think. Also, doing the art for this podcast is, I guess, my latest art. So the art, you made
my the boy that I am right now.
Yeah,
that conversation was funny. I don't know, Megaphone Man.
It was Megaphone Man, or what was it? Siren Head's son.
Siren Head's son. Yes, I am Siren Head's son. The conversation literally went like we were discussing some things or whatever, and you at some point, I think it was pretty late in the evening, like pinged me. It was like, hey, you wanna Do you have like any OC that I can use? I was like, nope, I do not. I don't make characters, or not full-blown characters yet, because I don't have the confidence. And it's like, all right, think of something, take your time. And then I think I just dropped in as like, hey, what if we put a megaphone on a tuxedo? And I was like, yeah. And that's it.
I think the whole thing that I did was you've got that picture of Robbie Rotten. I just really wanted to use that picture where it's like, would you like to? It's like, hey, do you have a character yet? No. Would you like to?
Yeah, I remember that. Would you like to? Yes, I guess.
So there you go. And now you've got a character.
There it is. I have. I'm going to use it. I'm going to develop his story. He is going to be Siren Head's son, or at least related to him in them, in some way.
Yeah. So right. that's my story. I think I've rambled on long enough about where I came from. Tell me more about
30
yourself.
30 minutes in the recording. I'm gonna keep it more to probably strictly to inspiration, not the entire process that I went to, because that's just chaos of me trying out whatever.
Yeah, that's fair.
It all started when I was a babe. No, then I didn't know what pixel art was. A few years later, however, I also stumbled across a game that also happened to be called Minecraft, and it is no doubt not only is like. Again, as I said, most people can probably attribute some of their inspiration for pixel art to Minecraft. I assume.
Well, I mean, unless they're like really hardcore classics, because you've got the classic games. Which
right.
Minecraft.
Yeah. Right. Of course, precedes
all
Minecraft,
of the boomer pixel artists. Yeah,
the boomer pixel artists when they didn't have another choice.
Yeah.
No, but I also spent a lot of time on creative servers, and also had a number of friends who did pixel art in Minecraft a lot. I didn't do it a lot, but I had friends who did it, and I always was like, oh god, that looks impossible. How do you do that? I want to be able to do that. And I never did when I was a kid, but you know. Then fast forwarding through the time, it sticks mostly to inspiration from, like, I haven't really interacted with pixel art just as its own art medium yet, mostly through indie games, mostly because the devices I was using couldn't run anything else, but I also just really like pixel art. So you're talking about games like Terraria, Binding of Isaac, Enter the Gungeon at some point as well. Okay, those are more recent releases, but when was Enter the Gungeon?
When was Enter the Gungeon?
When did Enter the Gungeon?
Let me check. Enter the Gungeon.
Hold on, store page. 2016. Okay.
Okay,
right.
yeah, it's okay. It's fairly old. We can use that as
we can use as it in past. God, that's good. That's a good way to make myself feel old, even though I'm 20.
Oh man, I'm the young one here. I'm a little baby boy.
A little baby boy Sean. No, but those types of games, a lot of roguelikes, honestly. I'll say that much. It doesn't matter. But a lot of just indie games that use pixel art style, also just online on video game websites or whatever. So there, my love for pixel art grew and grew. And there was then 2020 rolled around, and disease happened,
and then we all got locked at home.
Yeah, and I didn't have a lot to do. I was just playing way too many video games. And then there were three inspirations that really started me getting interested in a daily format. The first one I really encountered was the artist named Beeple. Beeple Crap. I don't know if you know him. He also makes art daily. Not art. Well, yes, art. It is art, but he makes CG renders in. I do not dare say which program, but he makes CG renders, and they were always absurd, grotesque, and all that. But it doesn't matter. They were good. He was very creative, and he had done it for 13 years consecutively when I discovered him. He has since turned to NFTs, so a bit less of a... He was basically at the forefront of NFTs. Bit less of a fan of him now, for that matter.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
But I still respect the art, and I still respect the daily... That is 13 years of consistency is impressive, no matter what you do with that, right?
Yeah.
I will not deny that. The other thing that was going on at the same time is a channel that no longer exists, because that was the point of the channel, Unus Annus. Markiplier and Crank Gameplanes uploading daily with various things with a common trend of theme, right? And then the last sort of inspiration happened to be my sister, one of my 3 sisters, the one in the middle, who also happened to be doing daily renders. That was just numbers or something in creative ways, doesn't matter. But she was also doing daily stuff. And then the one thing that really pushed me over the edge to finally start doing it was I wanted to make video games. I've been like thinking about making my own video games for quite a while up to that point. But there was one thing I always had in my mind is like, if I'm doing video games, I want to, maybe I won't actually do it, but I want to be able to make my own sprites and pixel art if I make video games. I want to be able to do that. And when I really came to the conclusion, we happen to have brand new an iPad Pro, and my sister also wanted to make art, also for like the same purpose at some point, but just art in general. And she got Procreate on that, and she had a little Apple Pencil, the whole setup. And I was like, you know what? I might as well try. And I've been seeing all this daily stuff, so I told myself, I'll do daily stuff as well. I can go into the whole philosophy of that. I can fill a whole like episode of that. I won't. I just had a bunch of like reasoning in my head why I would have wanted to do daily format. Mostly like if you keep doing it daily, you're gonna improve, just guaranteed.
I mean, I get that.
Yeah.
I think my philosophy was less doing it daily, but doing it with a purpose. Like, practicing with a purpose. If I'm gonna practice something, I don't need to practice it daily, as long as I go in with the knowledge, okay, I'm going to learn this. I'm not going to stop until I have learned this. That's sort of that's been my approach.
Yeah, I will admit, that's something I've been lacking a little bit. I need to add a bit more direction to my learning I am learning, I am improving, but I need a bit more direction. As in, there have been specific topics I've been trying to tackle from time to time. Like one of the major things was adding shadows, shading and stuff, kind of learning how to do that better understanding shape and how shadows impact that. I still don't know that. Light is a mystery when it comes to art still for me, but I am improving in that. I want to learn dithering, I definitely need to look into color theory more, but it doesn't matter. The daily grind still has me improving, right? So that's the point. I started out in Procreate for the first 30 days or so. Procreate, maybe there is something I missed, but it's not made for pixel art. I can tell you that. You can force a pixel art brush. It doesn't work well. And I'll let the audience in on a little secret about my first 30 or so posts. Procreate, I never figured out how to properly export it. Those pieces were tiny. That gets blurred to hell by compression. I couldn't export them properly. So those first 30 or so posts, up until the piece with the shovel from...
Were they screenshots?
Shovel Knight. Yes. And the mill from...
I've done that.
Shovel Knight. Were all screenshots then sent to my device that I actually post on, and then posted that way. So those first few pieces are screenshots up until then.
Yeah, I've done that.
Because then at that post, I purchased my beloved A-Sprite.
Yes, A-Sprite's so good. I could gush about A-Sprite for so long.
We'll just dedicate an episode of us
just to how good A-Sprite is.
Lovely old A-Sprite. Give them free promotion.
Yeah. I actually say I say how good A-Sprite is, but I've only been using A-Sprite for, I think, since late 2021. Yeah, late 2021, because that's when I started getting the new folder. So it was late 2021 that I started using A-Sprite.
So that's why you switched over to new folder. Got ya.
Because all of my other stuff was done on Pixel Studio, which is one that you can get for mobile, which is where I did all of my art. I did all of my art on my phone, just with my finger. During school, any free time I had, I'd just do art on my phone with my finger. You don't need anything fancy in order to do it.
I respect... as I respect 1-bit artists, equally do I respect phone artists. Like, I have some friends in a different server that just make digital art on their phone.
I know. I have one of those.
And
friends.
How? I have multiple. I don't understand how you can put yourself. I guess if you don't have a different like medium available and still like want to do art, of course, use whatever means you can. But I'm still so impressed by what they're able to do with that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, where was I at? Right. I guess I should also my journey specifically. That journey. Okay, I made one piece before that. We're not gonna talk about the angry red M&M.
We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about him. He's forgotten now. No, I probably still have him somewhere. No, but my daily pixel art journey started on the 11th of August, 2020, with a little cabin. Got a spectacular 8 likes, mostly from friends and family. I think there was like one rando. But then almost 30 days later, I bought Sprite, and that piece did much better because Sprite is the basics were so easy to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Like I watched one video and I just like, oh yeah, I know what's going on.
Yep.
Like since then, of course, I've learned a bit more about the ins and outs of Sprite, but it is so easy to pick up. They'll just start using Sprite.
The thing that hurt me when trying to learn Sprite, sorry for interrupting, was the hotkeys. Moving from mobile to keyboard and having to learn all the hotkeys.
I can get that. Yeah, I get that. You know, I think I exclusively use the hotkeys for the most part, because once you've learned them, you're just like just zooming across the keyboard. It's like, oh, now I need this. Now I need this. Now I need this. It's like for the tools that have that available, I rarely click on them actively. I always have the hotkeys mapped out in my brain.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So yeah, and then I had Sprite. I mean, I'll tell a little bit about my journey. The journey was turbulent, so I told a bit about the things I did try to learn. I slowly started scaling up. Like I started small. Some might consider that more difficult, but I was keeping things really simple. I started with 32 by 32, I'm pretty sure. Then pretty soon after I went to 64 by 64. Then a few months later, there was a long while I did 96 by 96. And now for the past almost like 200 days or something, I don't know exactly, I've mostly been doing 128 by 128. Sometimes if a piece calls for it, I'll adjust it. Like if Pixel Dailies puts out a prompt that restricts it to a much smaller canvas size, I'll do that. But in general, it's that. And then lastly, there is one funny little hiccup in my story, in that at some point, I don't know when, I spilled a drink on my laptop and I had to go back to Procreate for a good month or something.
Oh, that sounds painful.
The keyboard was instantly fried, and I was like, well, I think the laptop in general was broken. That's when I got this thing, the one I have now, this absolute beast of a laptop. So
I do not have an absolute beast of a device. I've got a base unit sat at the bottom of my bed with fans that roar incredibly loud, so I can't record anything. So if my voice sounds bad, that's because of my PC and my microphone.
That's great.
Yeah. But
right. Yeah. And last part, I mean, if you're wondering, I started learning Unity for about 2 days before giving up. So
it's me.
That's how the video game making journey is going. But hey, when I do pick it up, I will make pixel art for that myself. Which I guess that's my story, so that can bring us to our last topic about our own experiences so far, which is where do we want to go with our pixel art?
Yeah, so
I'll let you go first.
All right, where do I want to go with my pixel art? I think my biggest sort of where I want to go is I want to head towards more animation and more that side of things, because I'd mentioned my YouTube channel. I've uploaded 2 videos, and then I took a break.
Seriously?
Yeah, and then I took
what's its name?
It's just Bing J. It's
it's just Bing J. All right.
Yeah, all one word.
In there.
So
yeah, there it is. Got it. Continue.
Yeah, there you go. New subscriber. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I've done 2 videos, and
yeah, there's 2 videos on there.
Yeah, and I wanted to do a video a month, and then I skipped out this month's video because I decided, you know what, let's do a podcast.
Yeah, bit volatile there.
Yeah. Oh man, I am anything but consistent. Consistency is my worst enemy.
All right.
But where I want to go is towards animation. I want to be able to make stories and that kind of thing with my pixel
Right,
art.
yeah.
So I want to make
Story.
mock-up video game scenes. I want to be able to animate entire
right.
cutscenes in pixel art and things like that. And I want to
Yeah.
upload them to my YouTube channel and make... Because I have loads of stories written. I say loads. I've got like 4 different stories, but they're all really fleshed out in detail because I've been developing them for years, and I want to be able to tell these stories in a really satisfying medium. And because pixel art is what I do, enjoy. I want to move towards animation with pixel art,
Right.
and through that, I can make it look like a video game, and I can stylize it in a way that will make it look nice. But I'll be able to keep learning pixel art, but also tell these stories. And it's in something that hasn't been done a huge amount before. I can think of maybe 2 examples where you've had that kind of thing done. There was the Rick and Morty one where they had a whole short, like I think it was a 15-minute thing, all animated in pixel art.
Yeah.
And that was really, really, really well done. There was another one, and I can't remember it for the life of me. I'll have to mention it in another stream
at some point. Yeah. Pop out is like, oh, guys, I remembered.
Just, hey guys, episode 4 here. I've remembered which one it is.
Yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
Right.
lumpytouch. There we go. He's another pixel art YouTuber.
lumpytouch. Yes.
He's one of my biggest inspirations. He grew at the sort of Garfield's.
Garfield.
Yeah, the Garfield monsters, that kind of thing.
He is the reason the I'm Sorry John subreddit and that whole subgenre
Just
of horror exists.
Yeah.
As in, there's multiple sources, but he really
made it explode.
The Garfield animations that he made really made that concept explode.
The Garfield
the
Game Boy.
Are just like, yeah, Game Boy, right? The whole concept of what if Garfield but scary, and it just went off. It's insane. Yeah, there's been some insane artists. Sorry, this is a bit off topic. This goes to digital art, but have you seen Rojom?
I have not.
His pieces on it. Look it up. It's the banner, I'm pretty sure, for the I'm Sorry John, or the front pin thing or something. They have his best piece. Oh,
wow. Okay, yeah, I see.
Yeah. You need to... Okay, so for anyone listening, 2 artists you need to go follow. lumpytouch for his insane pixel art, including his Garfield Game Boy, but also just the other stuff he makes. And Rojom, but that's more because, I mean, he doesn't upload often, but just check out his stuff. He made a bunch of I'm Sorry John type vibes pieces, not all related to Garfield, but a lot of them certainly, and they're so good. They're so good.
They're really good. I will say though, if you're not a fan of Eldritch Horror, maybe skip that one.
Big warning, both of them are very focused on horror, grotesque, definitely lumpytouch. If you're faint of heart or something, don't. Save yourself. But if you like horror, if you've ever visited that subreddit that I mentioned, go check those artists out, because
my internet is dying.
Sublime. Oh, fantastic.
So that's actually a good time for you to discuss your plans for the future.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, is like just keep going with the daily art like style, right? It is at some point it's just kind of like it's not an obligation, but it feels weird to go out of it at this point, right? There's been a few like situations I'd find myself in that where I'd say it's like, okay, now I'll stop. The 3 of them are it's like if I don't no longer find myself improving because of it, or I find it hinders my life more than it benefits me in any way, or 3, some anomaly, some malevolent god just decides, no, you shall not make an art piece today by some means or another. Like, you know, if some disaster happens, I'm not going to be making pixel art in the middle of it. But I haven't encountered that. So up until that point, I'm just going to continue doing what I'm doing. I do want to do some other things. I want to, as I said, I want to develop a more personal art style. Currently, I'm just doing whatever, trying stuff out still, doing different things, doing different shading. but I want to find something that I can really call my own art style, which probably includes, as I said, finding better directions to go into. Maybe it's like actually do an extended multi-piece study on shading or dithering or specific set color schemes or color palettes or stuff like that. I need to do that more so that I can develop my own art style that I can call my own. As in, I will never like fully stick to that. I will always just kind of occasionally make pieces that look very different because I like doing that. And the second thing is I do want to start on actually making bigger pieces that are made in 1 hour max, like sitting. It's like maybe across multiple days that carry a more value. Like I have a few ideas for bigger pieces I'd want to make. And maybe one day actually start my video game making journey, because I do have like a number of very like what I feel very good ideas for video games. I mean, of course, every indie dev.
Yeah, every indie dev has good ideas for a video game. Yeah,
yeah. Which I mean, I'm sure a lot of them are pretty good video games, but yeah, it is like there is that point of saturation at some point, and maybe I'm just adding to the spill. But you know, I have some ideas that I do want to develop in terms of video games. That I have worked out in some ways, so yeah, I do want to get to that at some point, and who knows, maybe I mean it will include roguelike. I feel I want to. It was the point. The point is I love roguelikes. Roguelikes is one of my favorite video game genres. Too. And there's a part of my mind that wanted to honor this genre, really show my respect to this genre by making my own. I know roguelikes especially are a thing that are very saturated, but still I want to add my own like iteration on it as kind of a token of respect more than anything. And yeah, that's where I wanted to go. It's a bit loose. It's just keep going, but yeah. I mean, developing the more personal art style. Like, there's also considerations of commissions and that. I don't know, basically taking a more professional approach in that sense. Maybe, yeah, like get more involved in pixel art circles. I'm currently kind of doing that with Pixel Dailies and making this podcast, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it. Bit loose, but there are some big points I really do want to get to.
And I think,
but it's mostly just continue, right? Continue doing what I'm doing.
Yeah, and I think that's about it for us. All that's really left to discuss is what our plans are for the podcast. So.
Right.
I think my hope for the podcast is that I'll have something for pixel artists to listen into and enjoy for the artists themselves, and it's not necessarily
in the background.
Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily education. It's more towards the entertainment side of things. So that's sort of the direction that I want to take it with the podcast.
Something that has been lacking in terms of pixel art. You know, maybe you'll put this on in the background when you're making your new Magnus Open or something.
Yeah.
In that sense, we do want that to be the case, but we don't know. Of course, we're trying, but we don't know for sure if we're successful in that in the way that we're doing it. So, of course,
we'll need feedback.
We'll need feedback. Tell us. As in, we need to give them channels to do so. Currently, probably the best way is just like we mentioned, our social media, like Pixelate Daily for me, on Instagram and Twitter specifically.
I mostly hang around on Discord because I don't use Twitter.
Right. Right. Okay. Well,
I do have Twitter, but I don't use it that much.
Right. Got you. We should also probably just make like a Twitter or something or some social media presence for this podcast specifically, and then we can add those to descriptions of podcast episodes.
So if you're listening in on YouTube, check the description. We'll probably put something in there.
Yeah, if it's another streaming service, there's probably buttons for Twitter or Instagram or whatever somewhere. So check it out. Maybe it's there, maybe not. Otherwise, reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter on Pixelate Daily to give feedback or whatever. And also, we already mentioned we wanted to try out a guest format, have a guest interview them, and then roll over into a discussion about a topic of maybe they're choosing, maybe that just pertains to their style of pixel art. So if you feel like you're an artist who wants to just kind of ramble on about what they do, feel free to reach out in that sense as well.
And if you do, here's a bonus for you. You'll get your character, something that represents you, drawn for free as well. I want to keep up with my character art, so it'll help me in that sense. Yeah. But then you'll also have your little sprite appearing on screen, and it'll light up whenever you talk. Just for YouTube audiences, in case they ever decide that they're gonna watch as well as listen. Not much to look at. I'll be honest. Maybe I'll throw in a couple of visuals of my own art when I'm discussing that at that point, but not much to look at since it is a podcast.
Again, we've both agreed that making backgrounds is not something we particularly partake in doing. So have fun with what is it, blue?
With blue, yeah, blue. Yeah. Also, before we finish off, I do want to mention that I have been wanting to do this kind of thing for a long time. So any and all feedback that you have for us, please let us know. If it's an idea for the podcast, let us know. If it's something that you think we could do better, such as, I don't know, getting a better microphone. I know I need that. I have a new microphone coming soon.
On its way, guys. I'm getting a pop filter. I'll tell this story real quick. I bought a pop filter, as in real quick, because what arrived was an artist's glove with the label pop filter.
Yep.
I don't know what went wrong there, but I'll get a pop filter soon, but we can edit that out, so that shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, so... Yeah, any feedback, ideas, complaints...
Positive as well, by the way. If you just want to say, hey, thank you for doing this sort of thing, we could use a bit of an ego boost.
Yeah, I don't love myself nearly enough, guys. Come on, guys. I know you've got that. I'm kidding.
Alright, resident narcissist.
Resident narcissist Sean. Alright, fine. I see how it is.
I see how it is.
Yeah. Well, on that, yeah. I think that's a good time to stop there.
Yes. Well,
before my head gets too big.
Right. Too big. Right. Do you want me to try it outro?
Yeah.
We did not discuss this beforehand.
We didn't.
We're very prepared.
I mean, we can't just cut it off.
No. I want to say something. We're just
I can just cut it off and be like, alright guys, help, I'm being kidnapped. Thank you, everybody, for listening and joining us in this first episode of the podcast. I hope you learned some stuff about us, and I hope that you've enjoyed listening to us talking about ourselves. Next time, we'll be talking a bit more on different pixel art subjects, different pixel art topics. We just thought that this first episode we'd be able to sort of introduce ourselves. The next episode you can expect it in a week or maybe 2. We're still figuring out some of those things. But until then, I'm Sean, this is Bart, and I think that's us done for now. Thank you very much for listening, and goodbye.